Hi everyone. So this is part two to what's wrong with me. We're trying to guess. If you didn't see part one, it's in the grid. But basically, I've been having chest pain for over a year. I had stroke-like symptoms, and we're here. So I heard that the audio got cut off towards the end for part one. So what I was saying is that I got a referral from a friend who got me in very quickly, within like days, to go see this cardiologist. In the meantime, I was making a phone call and making a appointment with the referred cardiologist, and I was also doing research to see who I can go see and who the best cardiologist in my area was. So cut to my appointment date, and I get there, I check in, and I don't have the time. They didn't take my insurance. So I was a cash payment. So I get in, I wait, and to start off, like, the room was like heaven's waiting room. Everyone was older, and they were getting dropped off from like the senior home bus. So it was definitely like an older crowd there. And when I finally get like taken in, and he's just like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, well, I have had chest pain for a while now. And then he's like, "Okay." So then he goes and he feels my chest. "Does this hurt?" I'm like, "No." And then he's like, "Here." And then she's like, he's listening with the stethoscope and everything. And he's just like, "So did any of the front hurt?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And then I'm starting to touch myself. And I'm like, he's like, "Okay, well, don't like hurt, like push it hard so that it hurts." And I was like, "Okay, like calm down. I'm just trying to see if what you're talking about." He's like, "Well, usually younger women, they get some sort of blah blah, I don't know what it's called, and it's like they get soft here, this tissue, and it's like some sort of disease, like whatever it is, and you can get chest pain from that." And I was like, I don't think that's me. And so he's like going down the list, "Do you work out?" and this and that. And he's like, "What does your husband do?" And I was like kind of weirded out by that, because I don't think I've ever had a doctor ask me what my partner did. And so I'm like, okay, well, he's a subcontractor. And then he asked me, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm a stay-at-home mom." And so then I was just like, what does this have to do with anything? Maybe it's like the stress of work or my work, but what about him? So I was like, okay, never mind, thinking about it. So he starts like talking to me about like my discomfort. And I was like, well, it wasn't really discomfort. It was more like pain. Then he starts looking at me. He's like, "Discomfort, pain, it's all the same thing." He's like, "I'm sure it wasn't that bad." And I was like, Then he starts saying, "I've had discomfort. Everyone has had discomfort." And I'm like, again, it wasn't discomfort. It was pain. Mind you, I had not even told him why I went to the ER or that I had even gone to the ER, because he was too busy cutting me off about everything and how he's been a doctor and a cardiologist for over 20 years and la 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 la. And he's just like, "You're fine, you're young, you work out, do this and that." He was just going through all my history, and he was just like, "You're fine." And I was just like, well, I just don't really feel like I'm fine. And I understand that on paper, I am young, I'm 42, and this maybe isn't so like normal or, common for me to like have triple bypass. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but I feel like there's something, and I want to be heard, and I want to like go through this so that you can tell me there's nothing wrong. I would love that. Best case scenario. But if there is something wrong, I want to know. So I was just kind of like trying to tell him why. And he just keeps cutting me off. He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I feel like you're not understanding why I'm here. And he's just like, I know why you're here. You felt discomfort. And I'm like, I feel like we're not communicating here, and I'm not like, you're not understanding, and why I'm here. Doesn't care, keeps blowing me off. And because I was a referral from our mutual friend, who is actually my fiance's 20-year friend, and he's known him for less, obviously, he was just like, oh, you're gonna go tell our friend, aren't you? And I'm like, what? He's just like, oh, I see that you're upset. And I'm like, I'm shutting down. Like, my head is exploding at the way this man is talking to me. It's exploding with the fact that he is blowing me off. He not once wanted to hear the second part of why I was going to see a cardiologist. He didn't even care. I couldn't even tell him my story about the EER, about feeling the stroke symptoms. And I was just like, he's like, oh, so you just want to waste a bunch of money taking a bunch of tests just to find out you're fine. Is that what you want? And then I look at him and I was like, yes, like I do want that. And he's like, okay, that's fine. We'll put it in order for an echo. And I'm just like, in my mind, I was just like, I'm done. Never the fuck mind. I don't care. I want nothing. Even if he found like some crazy congenital, like whatever, I'm like, I don't care. I don't want to be anywhere near this person. I don't want him treating me. I don't want him anywhere around me. I left. They were like, oh, so when you want to schedule your echo? I'm like, I have to go. I have to go grab my daughter from school. I will be back and I will call to make that appointment. To be continued. No, thank you. I wanted to be as far away from him and the situation as possible. What I really wanted to do was cry. I wanted to cry because I was being gaslit. I was being ignored because I was not being validated. And I almost like wanted to like yell back at him at how angry I was and how like badly he mistreated me, because he blew me off so horribly that I was just like, I'm gonna go find someone who actually hears me. We run fucking 50 tests, and then he's just like, guess what? Everything came back clean. We're just gonna monitor you, and you're gonna have another appointment, and we'll just kind of go with it, and then we'll see. Best case scenario. But this person was absolutely horrible. Horrible. I found someone new. He's very nice. Part 3.